Hi, welcome back to the Chasing Tone podcast. I'm Travis.
I'm Max.
And I'm Brian.
The man behind the tone curtain. And I can't thank you guys enough for that taking off just to prove Max
I would have never thought, man.
hash brown wrong.
Hash brown fart noise.
Is that your no, that's not even so much. It's like a raspberry of disgust than a fart noise.
It's called rebuttal. It's my rebuttal to that.
That's your rebuttal?
I'm taking this like an adult.
I don't know. Let's call it a retort.
No, rebuttal sounds way better.
Yeah, because it's a fart noise.
And it has the word butt in it.
Yeah, okay. But this is Brian, the man behind the tone curtain, right?
Yep.
Okay.
You got it.
So we've had this, we did a topic on the ethics of cloning pedals, and I've gotten a huge response to that. And the main thing that everybody wants to know is, you know, what if I'm just cloning it for personal use for my pedal board? When does it cross the line, you know? And I have my own thoughts, you know, and since I'm the one talking now, I'll say mine first. But
Sure.
But my thing is when you start selling them for a profit, you know, and there's a little gray area there, you know, but if you start selling them for a profit, when you're going on, you know, if you're grabbing a schematic for anything that's an original design that you didn't create, and you start making these things and then cranking them out, then that to me, that's where it crosses the line.
Yeah, I can see both ways, because for some reason there's this weird sort of code of morals and ethics among guitar pedal builders. Mm-hmm. So I get, like, for example, it's okay to build a tube screamer, right?
Right.
It's okay to build another fuzz face. It's okay to do a big muff,
but not a Zen drive.
but not a Zen drive.
Right.
You know, or up until recently, up until basically Electro Harmonics did it.
The Klon.
The Klon. I remember Jfet did a clone like 3 years ago or 2 years. It's several years ago. Mm-hmm. And like on the gear page, a lot of guys were like really upset about that.
Oh, they trashed them?
Oh man, yeah, they're really upset about that. And I think, if I recall right, I think Josh actually was like, "All right, we'll stop making that." I mean, it created that much of a stir. And now, I mean, how many clones now are there?
Oh gosh, man!
All of a sudden, that's acceptable.
Right, and well, I mean, Electro Harmonics, the soul food, I mean, is the best thing since sliced bread on the forums. Man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and then I don't know if you want to give props to Mike Matthews or not, but I mean, I guess from a business perspective, he's just like, I'm going to do it anyways, you know? And look how good it's doing. I mean, tons of people are loving it.
Yeah, I mean, and it is a great pedal. Yeah. But then kind of back to the JHS thing, it kind of gives them an avenue to say, okay, well, we can turn this into what we used to have, right? You know, and they have their mod shop, and then they have the Meet and 3 mod for that.
Yeah. So they're doing tons of mods on those.
Right, and you know, I think Josh actually even buys them and then mods them and then sells them. You know, right? I
assume so.
Yeah,
I haven't asked him, but
so
I'm assuming he's just basically probably works kind of like a dealer of a way.
Yeah,
gets a big batch of them and modifies them. So
yeah, so I mean. It's kind of cool that he can come back and kind of reap some benefits of that, since he got trashed in the beginning, you know.
Yeah, but how weird is that though? That it was not just acceptable to the community.
I know,
for a while, and people have been doing tube screamers since before I was. Yeah. Well, the full drive is basically a good tube screamer with some mods, you know.
Yeah, and the word Mosfet, which confuses enough people to make people think it's really good.
The Mosfets are just acting as clipping diodes. So here's the geek portion. Yeah, the Mosfet is basically just changing what's clipping. So instead of going from a regular diode, it's just clipping Mosfets, which sounds a little bit different and responds a little bit different.
I couldn't help it.
But that's the end of the geek section.
But the thing is if you put that and my job. But the thing is too, is I'll admit, man, before I got into any of this stuff, you know, and I was just a guy that liked gear, you know, I was so confused and embarrassed that I didn't know what like when you put something like Mosfet or Jfet on the pedal as part of the marketing or even kind of the name of it, then, you know, it's one of those things like, back then I got the feeling to where I was like, well, I should know what that is.
Yeah.
And if I don't know what it is, I'm just going to pretend I do, and it's got to be better because it says it on there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there is a sense of that in the marketing.
I think that's not just in pedals. I think that's just in
Well,
products in general.
Yeah,
you know?
not even just musical instruments industry, across the board.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, look at the word trans fat. What the hell's that mean? I'm going to make up a word and then offer a product and say that mine doesn't have that in it. And then insinuate everybody else's does. I'd be like, these crackers don't have hyperglobin.
That's the next pedal. It should be like, we remove the hyperglobin from the circuit.
Yeah, exactly. Now with no hyperglobin. And then just see if it'll catch on.
Ask your favorite pedal builder if he's got hyperglobin in his pedals. Because we went through a huge amount of transistors to get rid of those hyperglobins.
I got nothing.
But you know what I mean. It's all it's a marketing, and it's
The same way with calories. I mean, what are even delicious points?
delicious points.
You know, probably full of too much hyperglobin.
Yeah. I mean, really. I mean, can you even prove that a calorie exists?
Have you seen a calorie? No.
Exactly.
I have seen chocolate cake though. It's full of delicious points.
It goes back to that other episode when you said what'd you do? Full circle. But it goes back to that episode where you said you were the king of eating cake.
Cake, yeah. I could whoop anybody in that.
There is a guy of YouTube fame. He's like this bodybuilding professional eater guy. I don't think you could take him.
Probably could.
Wait, so he's
maybe not
a
like
bodybuilder, yet he eats a ton of food.
Yes,
like
the
chocolate
dude
cake and stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He ate like 14 scoops of ice cream on a cone in like 2 minutes.
Child's play.
And he kept going on. He's like, "Oh, my head, my head."
Is he like 21 where you don't have any body
I
fat?
would imagine
no
he's
matter
like
what you do?
25 or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
His name's Furious Pete.
Yeah, try that after about 35.
Dude,
man.
he did this challenge where he drinks like 3, that like lemon juice or whatever that you buy at the store, the concentrate.
Like the that's in a lemon itself?
Right, the
Yeah.
same stuff,
Yeah.
but he chugged 3 of those like 24-ounce bottles. Chugged them right there, dude, right on camera. I mean,
I want to do that, but like chocolate cake, let's do this.
dude, he could take you. Furious Pete, man, I'm reaching out to challenge you on behalf of Max to a
Sponsored
cake.
by Lisinopril. Let's do this.
By who?
Lisinopril. I think that's a blood pressure medicine. Let's do this.
That's what we need, a pharmaceutical sponsorship for the show.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm looking at Colorado, Washington.
No, not that kind of pharmaceutical match.
It's a joke. Come on, allow the joke.
Yes. Chocolate cake.
Somebody's gonna get offended. Somebody's gonna get offended by
Yeah,
that.
if you get offended by that, then I'm sorry.
Or as I always say, if we
Not
offend you, I forgive you.
Exactly.
But no, if we offend you, and chances are we probably will eventually, you can tell us about it at podcast@wamplerpedals.com, and I'll send you an apology letter.
Or you know what else you could do is also post, on your favorite Facebook page or
Yeah.
your favorite gear forum about how you hate our podcast with the link to it. That'd be nice.
Attention, Travis Feaster.
Exactly.
But so I got something I kind of want to backtrack a little on when I said as long as you're selling them for profit, that's where I have a problem with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's say, here's the thing. Let's say a guy likes the sound of the build your own clone, Big Muff or whatever.
Sure.
But he knows it's a cheaper option to go than to buying a boutique one. But he doesn't have the skills to build one.
Okay.
So let's say he pays a guy $50 to build him one.
Well,
see what I mean? That's a gray area there.
It's definitely a gray area. I mean, there's like really no good line. I mean, I guess
right.
Like,
it's yeah.
Like for me personally, it's like we don't do a lot of clones. Of course, the
Right.
Clarksdale's based off a tube screamer, and I try to be pretty forthcoming with that type of stuff.
Oh, you completely.
like the ego compressor. I'm like, is based off like a Dynacomp style Ross type of circuit.
To my knowledge, before the Clarksdale, you only did one clone, and I actually saw the box, and it actually said, "This is my first clone," and it was the Underdog.
As I say, I know the Underdog was based off of Nobles.
Yeah, but you actually said on the box. Like back then, you were just using like little stickers that you put on the box.
I forget, man. I'd have to sit down with all the pedals I've ever put out and be like, okay, that was one.
Well, I'm not talking based off. I'm saying a clone. Like you actually used that word.
Yeah, I just even starting out, I made it hard for myself because it's much easier to sell a tube screamer. So if you're starting a pedal business, start with your tube screamer and Big Muff, and you'll probably make some sales. The way I started was like
$23.99 delay.
Yeah, I mean, the way I started was like, I think I'm just going to design something different,
right?
Which worked out to our advantage because a lot of our stuff doesn't sound like anything else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it was coming from that perspective. I kind of like, for me personally, I don't like putting out clones as much as I like doing my own thing. Like, like for example, I love the Clarksdale. You love it for for the stuff that you do,
right?
But from like breadboarding and everything, it's not quite as exciting to do that as it is to start with a completely blank slate,
right?
And a sound and say, I want to get from here to there,
right? Well, the way I would kind of relate it to myself is on my third CD, I recorded. Is a Bob Marley tune. It was my first cover tune I ever recorded, and it's completely different than the original, but you can still tell what it is. But I had fun recording it and arranging it, don't get me wrong, but I don't take pride in that song like I do the others that, the 29 or 30 other songs that I've written.
Because it probably feels like you actually created those
exactly
from scratch. And
is that kind of like a good analogy?
Probably a good analogy, yeah.
Yeah. Although Max sang some killer harmonies on that track, didn't you?
It was fun.
It was fun.
Yeah, I guess from that perspective, I mean, that's kind of a good analogy. Is maybe building clones as a pedal builder, kind of like playing cover songs, maybe.
Right, and then so you have to like do the cover tune well enough so people can sing along and recognize it. But as a quote unquote artiste, as an artist, you want to do it different enough to where it satisfies your soul,
and where it sounds like you.
Yeah. So basically put a lot of skittlies and wheedles. If you guys don't know what skittlies and wheedles are, just go play guitar or listen to any Leonard Skinner record.
I like the Baducka myself.
Yeah, you like and I like skittly. And Mac, you're a wheedle guy. Wheedle.
Yeah, Wheedle guy.
Yeah.
We're talking about artists. I'm hungry. All I think about sandwich artists.
I was gonna say he's over here thinking about chocolate cake.
I am.
Now you can bring it back to the topic of chocolate cake.
The best is you walk in today singing lyrics to a song wrong. You were saying, I'm all about that treble, no bass or whatever. And then Max is singing, I'm all about that lunch,
no breakfast. You scoot up a little more.
I can't hear you.
You're closer to your mic, Max. Closer to your mic, monkey. So you talk into it. Enunciate.
You don't have to. Although I did get a funny email. Somebody said, "Oh, I love the podcast," and those are great, man. If you guys are digging it, shoot us an email, let us know. But even if you're not digging it, shoot us an email, let us know. But this guy's
even if you're not listening, just shoot us an email.
Yeah. But this guy was like, it took me. He said, "I'm a love it podcast." I listened to all of them, almost in a row, and it took me to the third one to realize Max was speaking English.
Don't care.
That's awesome.
Hey, it was working. At least you kept listening.
Yeah. And then you had that other guy that finally saw the video. Will you tell the story?
Yeah, I actually had one user, and I can't remember his name. Listener, excuse me, not user. That's terrible. Sorry, it goes back to the pharmaceutical thing. No, that's a transition. Anyways, he's like, I always listen to the podcast, and then I watched one, and Max sounds like he should be bald. I don't know what that means. Maybe because I usually wear a hat. How does one sound bald?
I don't know. It's awesome.
I would accept it like drunk. He mumbles and slurs a lot, so he must be inebriated. That makes sense. But sound bald. It didn't hurt my feelings. I was
Is
just
your
taken
dad
back.
bald? Your dad's kind of bald,
Yeah,
right?
my dad's very bald.
He's not. He's got hair on the sides, right?
Sure.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
On
probably in
sides.
your future.
No way.
No way.
No way.
It's in my future. What'd you tell me the other day? I was talking about how I had a receding hairline. It goes, no, bro, you got a retreating hairline.
It's like, you're in full retreat.
Yeah, this is nothing. I didn't notice how bad my hairline was until I started watching our own podcast with the GoPro.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, holy crap, I'm half bald.
Or half not bald.
No, I'm half bald.
Half bald. Lucky.
Sure.
Okay, sure. But so talking about emails, I want to start a new thing. It's actually Max's idea. So I guess Max is hash brown, right?
What a
Right?
concept.
Sure. Okay. But we get a lot of emails, and like I said, I love them, man. It's great. But some of them are pretty dang funny. I don't think they mean to be sometimes, but I want to start featuring the funniest email of the week. So this week, I don't know if I should. I'm not going to say names. If this is your email and you want me to say your name, email me back and I'll tell you. But this guy wrote in response to our gig bag contents podcast. He wrote, "My gig bag is full of tin whistles and various keys. Sometimes we like to kick it Celtic style at church." How does one kick it Celtic style?
Especially at church.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, I don't know why. Maybe it's, and I feel bad if it's not supposed to be funny. I apologize, but it did make me chuckle because I've never heard kick it Celtic style.
I want to party with that guy.
I do want to party with that guy, dude. We should throw a Wampler party, block party.
A pizza party after this. I'm hungry.
We had a pizza party for your year anniversary.
Don't
last
ruin
week.
this.
Yeah, we
for
have
me.
a pizza party like all the time.
Yeah.
We
That
just
just
need to
benefits?
start working inside of a pizza place
We really
Boom.
do.
Boom.
or a tavern, one or the other.
That could be dangerous. Then I'd really sound drunk and nobody of you understand me.
You know the best thing? Yeah, don't get me wrong. I call you all the time, but I always find myself anytime I go to any outlet that sells alcoholic beverages calling Max, being like, "What's a good beer that I'd like?" You are the
I
beer
do the
connoisseur.
exact same thing. Or I'll call him up and
He does.
I'm like, all right, I'm looking at the beer fridge, and what does this one taste like? And he's like, oh, well, that's hop, and it's got this, and it's got that. I'm like, all right, I won't like that. He knows every beer,
Yeah.
just every one.
Yep, and he knows that you may know. What's my favorite kind of beer?
Sun King Cream Ale.
Cream ale, yeah, just any cream ale. I love a cream ale because Max says that's because I don't like beer.
It's true. Actually, Sun King Cream Ale is pretty delicious. But you know, you guys are with like Jfets and Mosfets. I am with beer, which I don't know that's a good thing, and it goes back to me probably drinking too much. Chocolate cake and beer, a recipe for obesity, which I might exhibit some symptoms.
No,
Anyways.
stop it.
Ugh.
But so no, I love that email, man. That one cracked me up. So shoot us your emails, podcast@wamplerpedals.com. Okay, so the clone thing, I guess that's kind of, I feel like I've gotten my point across, I guess, my view.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a problem at all if I don't think if a person, like, for example, you could find some VAR schematics online, build one for yourself, have fun with it, you know.
Right. Yeah,
That's
like
totally
I
cool.
said,
And like a lot of times, like on free stomp boxes, I'll jump in and say, someone will say, well, it's doing too much of this, and I'll say, well, then,
because you got it wrong.
well, I mean, a lot of times I'll say, okay, well, I'll help troubleshoot a little bit, or I'll offer some suggestions. Like if they say, well, I want more bass out of it, or less bass, or whatever, I'll say, well, change this and this, and
Right. Well,
so I'll jump in a little bit with the DIYers.
I saw something on a forum, this has been about 2 years ago, where it was DIY stomp boxes, where somebody was describing your triple rack and how they had reversed it, and they thought it was the worst sounding pedal that they had ever heard, and they didn't understand why people bought it. And then you were so polite. I don't remember exactly how you said it, but you were very polite, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry you're unhappy with the sound of your triple rack, but if you change this component to this component, and this component, I think you're wrong in your reverse engineering. But basically, you without putting the smack down, you're like, dude, the reason it sounds like crap is because you're wrong.
I don't
That's
remember
right
that.
on.
But you weren't mean about it at all. So I thought that was cool. That was kind of like, the first time that was before I even started working here. I saw that and I was like, man, that's kind of cool. The cat, like,
well,
yeah.
So many people, I guess not so much anymore, but I know in the past couple of years and me building the business, so many people get really bent out of shape of whenever like their circuits get, degooped
Reversed,
or whatever,
yeah.
reversed. And, but I'd look at, it's information and you're never going to fight that anymore.
Right.
There's nothing you can do.
Even if you could, quote unquote, patent a circuit, and I may be way wrong on this, but this is the way I kind of gather it. Let's say I made a circuit and I patented that circuit. Well, to my understanding, someone could come along and change one resistor value, and then it's not that patented circuit any longer, or use the exact same schematic and lay it out different. Right?
Kind of yes and no. I mean, here's the thing. You could copyright like the layout of a circuit board. So if I was going to build a Boss DS1, I can't take their layout and do the exact same thing and put it in the pedal because that layout's copyrighted.
Right.
I can take it schematically, electronically, make a new layout and make that pedal. So
okay, real quick, just for the layman, do you care to just define layout?
Layout is the way in which the parts are placed on the circuit board.
Right.
So, if...
And one thing I'll interject there is just because they're laid out different doesn't mean that the signal or voltage or anything hits those components in any different order than the schematic. It's just simply the way they're laid out on the board.
Different places.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But a lot of people may not know that.
Right.
So,
now, if it's something is actually patented, then that's a little different story.
Okay.
Then you can't... That's basically saying, okay, I have this circuit that works in a unique way, and so you can't use this circuit in this way.
Really hard to do in guitar effects.
It's been done. Tube driver is patented.
Okay.
So, I mean, you can be awarded a patent, though, if no one fights it. But here's the other thing with the legal system in America.
Cost a fortune.
Well, let's say that, let's say you start up a pedal company and you start making a patented pedal and you sell like 5 of them this year, Now, is that company going to spend $75,000 and take you to court to fight you over that? To get their, $30 that they would earn?
Or moreover, if that company is, and I always feel bad for using this as a default country, but that's the way it works out. But like, let's say, it's a Chinese company making a couple hundred a month. It's going to cost even more than $75K to try to fight that over there.
Yeah.
Their jurisdiction or whatever. So
right, and there's different ways to combat that. Usually the legal system is not the best way if you're in China or Japan or China mainly or something like that. So there's different ways to do it though.
But that goes outside of, ethics. That's more, legalities of it. But I think if I don't know. My thing is I don't think any builder on the planet is going to come after a guy that makes one to throw on their personal board.
No one I know of.
You know what I mean? Like if somebody, because even if I came up to you and said, "Hey man, I love your Euphoria. I cloned one and I put it on my board, man. I'm loving it."
Right.
You'd probably be like, "Well, why don't you just buy one?" But I doubt you'd be that upset.
No. I mean, it's just people, DIYers tend to just love that type of thing,
Right.
So, I mean, that's just what they do.
Right.
That's not offensive to me at all. What is offensive to me is like, let's say you take like the Plexi Drive and you start selling a pedal that says Plexi Drive on it.
Right.
Or you'll start hearing from my attorney.
Yeah, of course.
And we've had that happen before, When
Yeah.
people were trying to pass off,
triple wreck, especially that one pops up all the time.
Well, that's because it's being made through Alibaba.
Yeah.
A Chinese
I didn't
source.
want to say it, but yeah, you're right.
Well, I mean, it's just that it is what it is, but that's also why we have a version 2 coming out here shortly.
Oh,
so that one,
little
that one will
there.
no longer be new and it will have a new look and everything. So sorry about you, Alibaba.
Yeah, boom. Nothing.
Hashtag leakage. What is a leak? That sounds terrible.
Do not hashtag that, or if you do, don't. I'm not clicking on it. I don't want to see anything like that.
Don't Google image search that.
See, my favorite thing to do is just like release a version 2 and not tell anybody.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I love that.
Remember that time
When
you were
did this
going
come
to
out?
release
And
a
everybody's like, how
Plexi
come this
Drive
pedal looks
volume
different?
or version 2? Remember that?
Say again?
When you were going to release a Plexi Drive version 2, you remember that?
That's still in the hopper.
Still in the hopper. I've had the prototype for months.
I know.
Print came from Vince.
Yeah, but you're
Wish I
like,
had prototype.
dude, this Clarksdale is awesome.
No,
And I was like, but the Plexi Drive. Man.
No. I told you from day one that the Plexi Drive was awesome. That's always been my favorite pedal, man. As I told you that whenever I first started working here, it's one of the hardest parts about this job is Brian will just give you pedals and say, "Hey, you better take this home and get to know it." Dang it!
All right, I remember when
Yeah.
you're just like set in front of the pedal board, like, just play these all day.
Yeah. But make sure you take notes. But I remember you used to send me home, and then you sent me home with the hot wired and the Tweed 57 and the Black 65. You sent me in the Paisley Drive, and then I'll never forget when you sent me home with the Plexi Drive. Don't take us the wrong way. I'm just gonna say it. It's pretty boring to look at.
Yeah, well, that was one of the ones that I think I actually started with the graphics on that.
You're right.
Makes
And,
sense.
and,
now.
I mean, Jason made it into
Yeah.
Jason from UK made it into a little bit better, but it's still kind of based off my
Right.
very poorly designed decal.
Right.
5
Well, it's
years
not as
ago.
bad as the faux analog echo, but it's.
Again, that was one that started with my
Yeah.
initial artwork.
But anyway, so I looked at it and I was like, well, this one looks boring. And it was a total judge a book by its cover. And then I plugged it in and I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, you can kind of see where like Jason's like, all right, enough. I'm going to start making these look
Yeah,
better.
yeah, of
so
course.
I think he started like with like the Paisley and
Yeah.
and of course the Latitude looks amazing. Looks really good. And the Clarksdale looks really good too. But
Yeah.
I mean, the designs have kind of changed a little bit.
Yeah, but that was the one to where I was like, okay, I don't need any more. You don't even need to send me home with anymore. This is the one. This is it. And then so you can't say that I'm not all about the Plexi Drive and the V2.
No,
the
no.
V2 is awesome.
I got you, but there are some other companies that are like releasing a pedal a week.
Yeah.
And
we did the math. One of them has done 16 pedals so far this year.
yeah. See, to me, that's
And that works out to be one every 2 weeks.
I'm like a stats guy. I always am like researching and trying to figure out all the stats of stuff, and I've never found that to be the most profitable way to do it.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
and not even the most profitable way. The way and again, I'll turn this back to like the music thing. Like, no one wants. Okay, for instance, back in the day, I'll never forget when Pearl Jam released their second record. Max, Pearl Jam was this band in the 90s. No, well, they're still a band, but no, nothing. But
Man,
anyways,
listen to you. You're not that much older than me. We keep going back to this.
because you always
But you grew up
You
on
just-
like Miley Cyrus, though.
But Travis just looks older than me.
because I am older than you.
Not much.
But I remember when Pearl Jam's second record came out, I stood in line for that. And it's one of those
Those
things like
verses, right?
yeah,
Verses?
no, Vitology.
Vitology.
Yeah.
No, Vitology
was it
the third
versus?
one.
I can't remember.
But
But
the one that had the dog on it.
it wasn't a dog. It
Was
was
it?
a lamb or something, or
I
a
thought it was a
sheep
dog
or
or
something. Dang it! Now I'm gonna have to go back. I can tell you the
It
tunes
was the
on
one
it.
after 10.
It was exactly. It was definitely the one after 10. But anyway,
That was the first album. 'cause
That
there
was-
were
yeah.
10 songs on it.
yeah. But
Looking at the camera awkwardly.
But anyway, the point I'm getting to is it took them years to get that record out. And do you really want your favorite band just to put out a record as soon as like the first 10 songs they write, boom, there it is.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
No, you want them to write 20 or 30 and pick the best 10 out of that, wouldn't you?
Well, I mean, I think you would honestly get bored of it if, like, every
Yeah.
2 weeks it was like, hey, look, another album. Hey, look, another
Yeah.
album. Hey, look. After some point, you're like, dude, I haven't even consumed the first album.
Right.
Yeah.
So with another analogy, would the live album, would that be like a V2 of a pedal?
The live album. Which live
Yeah,
album?
like if I were to record a live album, would that just be like, because it'd probably be the same tunes over the last 3 CDs? So would that just be like a version 2? Plexi Drive?
No, I don't think so. No. It'd be like if you
Look at Max's face.
if you took one of your songs and you, like, completely changed it. You made it into a reggae song.
What if I turn a reggae song into a blues song, like I did with that Bob Marley song?
That'd be a V2.
That's a V2. Right?
Sure.
Sure. Remember that time you recorded a record, Max? So, Max.
Gotta bring this up.
Yeah. Oh, heck yeah, I'm going to bring it up until you get it done. I told you. How many years ago was it? 4.
Forever, yeah.
4 years ago. He paid for the studio time, paid the studio musicians, had all the songs written, and he asked me to come in and help him produce it. So I got in there, I worked with the engineer, and we tracked drums, bass, scratch vocals, and scratch guitars.
Yeah.
And on it for about 6 songs.
Then the band broke out.
And then the band broke up, and I'm like, dude, who wrote the songs? He wrote the songs, not the band. So I'm like, so now you just change the name of your band to your name, and then you finish the thing. Well, that was 4 years ago. Studio time still paid for.
Dang, dude.
Yeah.
I think
you know how much money you're missing out on?
The guy actually
You could
moved
have
to
it
Washington
released,
State.
and we could be selling it through the website right now.
How come you never offered to sell my records to the website?
I like him better.
Damn it.
That's a lie.
Proof.
You know that's a lie. Say, who has a prototype V2? Not me. Nope.
But
No, actually, on the Clark sale, when they came out, Brian experimented with like some different colors on the pedal, and I was like, "Hey, Travis, which one do you like more? I like that one. Max, you can have the one Travis didn't like. You take that one home with you. Nobody likes this pedal. It's yours now. You can't even sell this."
yours is a one of a kind, though.
I
Mine
never,
isn't.
see, I
Mine's a
never even
production
thought
model.
about that because, like to me personally, like I'm fine with my prototypes just not having any paint and just
Yeah,
sharpening.
I think there's some cool facts.
I allow the Plexi drive.
Dude, dude, I'm gonna steal one of your fiance. I might as well say wife because
Yeah.
might as
October
well-
25th.
October 25th, man.
Pick some gifts right here. I mean,
Yes, gifts and donations to Care Up. No, but I was gonna make a pedal, and I was gonna put DWA as the title of it, and that's kind of from your wife / fiance. Because what does she always say when I ask her a question? Don't worry about it.
oh yeah. Don't worry
So
about
when
it.
somebody asks, I was just gonna put it on a metal enclosure and then a Sharpie marker. Just write DWA. If somebody like, what's that? I'm gonna say, don't worry about it. Patent pending. Don't you dare make a pedal called that. That goes out to every one of you listening.
let me just text my attorney real quick.
Is this name taken?
It probably
worry
is
about
now.
File.
But
Trademark.
so, and you know what? I'll make it a clone called "Don't Worry About It."
What's that a clone of?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Is it original design? Don't worry about it. So hopefully that cleared up, like, you know, our opinions
Our
on
stance on it.
Yeah, our stance, I guess, on, you know, cloning for personal use. And like I said, I don't even have a problem with somebody's like, hey man, I'll pay you $50 if you build this for me because I really want it and I don't know how to do it. But if you start doing that as a side business,
Yeah. I mean,
here's my thought. If you get that inkling of doubt in your stomach to where you're like, is this wrong? Then it probably is.
well, yeah, I see where you're coming from. Me personally, I think it's a personal thing. Like me personally, I'm just not that much into clones.
Right.
But I don't think it's necessarily wrong because I think it's a business and it's a marketplace. And if your customers are willing and wanting clones of something and that's what
Right.
you do, then do it, man.
I'm talking about like the personal level thing. You know what I mean? Like if you're, for instance, you know, keep talking about the Klon, but the Klon, if you want a real one, you need $1,800.
Yeah, is it that much now on eBay?
Oh, it's probably more than that now, but I've seen them on like G-Base for like 22 and 24.
Wow.
But
Wow.
but you know, I don't have that kind of bread, and if I did, I'd like to think that I probably wouldn't drop it on that. I'd probably get like a vintage amp or something.
Right.
But you know, I can go to build your own clone and for $84 or something like that.
Or for like, what, 60, you can buy the soul food.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, like you said earlier, the DIY guys, they want to do it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's
You
just
know?
what, yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's a fun thing. It's a hobby thing.
Right.
So
That's kind of like me. Like if I was wanting a clone, I would probably just be like, just build one real quick.
exactly.
You know?
You know what I mean? So that's my stance. You know, Max, I know you've built some stuff, and I think
I've
you
done a
kind of
couple
see it the
things.
same way, right?
It always ends up with burnt fingers and swear words, though.
Yeah.
So I don't build it anymore.
Dude, I had a beer and solder party. That's hard to say, solder party.
Solder
Party.
I've done that before.
Sure.
A beer.
Have a couple beers and start building some pedals.
Yeah.
It doesn't usually turn out very well.
No, I ruined a bunch of cables trying to do that thing that I told you I was going to do to my pedal board. So I need to do it sober.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah, I did. I was drunker than a skunk, dude.
There's 2 wires and a jack. How do you do that?
I'm gonna go to your house and like your kitchen table's gonna be like burn marks. They're like, what happened? Like, don't ask. Don't
worry about
There's gonna be like
it.
placemats everywhere. Yeah. Don't tell my wife.
Stacy tells me not to use this placemats anymore because I burnt them up last time, and solder sticks to the cloth, but it won't stick to the hardwood on the table. Mm-hmm. So, but that's our stance. Hopefully that clears some things up because I did get a lot of emails on that. So
yeah, sure.
If you guys have any questions or comments or anything, or just want a general nonsense, or send us, the funny email of the week, hit us up at podcast@wamplerpedals.com. Also, check out our new Facebook page at facebook.com/chasingtonepodcast, and also the same name for our Instagram page or channel or outlet. What would that be?
Insta page.
Our Insta page.
Boom.
So, and that's Chasing Tone Podcast as well. So, keep in mind those are under construction. We're working on it. Be patient with us. So, thank you guys so much for listening.